بسم الله بسم الله. Check, check.
It's like a. I don't think this is the right. It's working, right? Yeah. It's just online. It's a little weird. Okay, not speaking. Let's speak.
Test, test, test.
Bismillah. Bismillah. All right, perfect. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. It's working now, inshallah. We're going to go to ayah number 53. 52, 53. Bismillah. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Apparently they changed some system, and we don't know how to use it yet. So it took some time to shift it back to the old system. But, alhamdulillah, this works. I only hope. I only hope that it stays working the entire time, inshallah. Hasib, can you see me? Sorry. How about now? Can you see me now? All right. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Alhamdulillah. So, inshallah, we will now start our class for today, inshallah. Okay. So, very, very quickly go over some of the ayat that we covered, and now, and then after that, we'll go into what we're going to discuss today. In regards to the two ayat. Okay, so number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, First, I'll start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. So we'll start off with ayah number 50 as just a quick recap. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ. He says, go and get him for me. Bring him to me. I want him. فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. A messenger was sent. Who is the messenger? We don't completely know. Most likely it's the same person who was freed from the prison. He says, it said, go back to your king, go back to your Lord, and ask him what was going on with those women who cut their hands. And we discussed the manners of Yusuf alayhi salam here. He didn't say the ones who seduced me or the ones who plotted against me or none of this. He said, go to the ones who cut their hands. Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. He knows, indeed my Lord, He knows. He's the most knowledgeable regarding their plots. Okay, so we talked about a few different things from this, the subtleness of Yusuf alayhi salam's claims and what it means. Then we come to the investigation. قال ما خطبكن إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه قل حاش لله ما علمنا عليه من سوء. قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصل الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. So the king, he thinks to himself, he doesn't think to himself. The king says to the other women, what was going through your minds or what were you thinking when you seduced Yusuf? Simplest translation, very simple translation. We talked a little bit about rawattunna and the way it's translated here in the Bayyina translation. When you try to have Yusuf give himself to you, right? So here, one of the last things that we discussed last time was what? Yusuf, the king here, when he's doing his investigation, it's almost like he's already blamed them. It's like he's already accused them. So how can we think that? If he's the one who's responsible for the investigation, how can he just automatically accuse them of doing something wrong? That's not fair. That's not just. So essentially what we came with, there's two major opinions in the Tafsir. One is that he just straight up accused them. The second was the word idh here is in reference, is another word for hell. So he's asking the question, is this what happened? Is this what happened? Then I told you that I consulted with Imam Asif and he actually gave a very interesting take on this, which makes most sense because it covers both, or not covers, it connects both tafsirs of this ayah. And that is, the king had a feeling that they were guilty. So in pursuit of his investigation, he said, you did it, tell me what you were thinking. Why? Because it's just like a judge who is trying to get to the truth and he accuses them just to see what their reaction will be. Just to see what their reaction will be. They can very well say, no, really, we didn't do anything. But they don't do that. The truth has come out. Now they're worried. So what do they say? حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا عَلِمْنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ سُوءٍ. How perfect is Allah? God is above this, whatever claim that they're making right now. And in regards to Yusuf alayhi salam, we don't know anything that he did wrong. We don't know anything that he did wrong. Now what does this mean? Like I think today actually we're going to come to the to that, but maybe I'll tell you right now, and then if you remember, you can tell it to me back. This is one of those ways where Yusuf alayhi salam's innocence is proven on the tongues of his accusers. Ma alimna alayhi min su. It didn't have to say alayhi or min su in order for the same message to get across. But this is extra emphasis. For what reason? To show that he was completely innocent of anything wrong that anyone could have accused him of doing. قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق. The wife of the minister says, now the truth has been uncovered. Or the way they translate it, the truth is now laid bare. أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. I am the one who seduced him, and indeed he was always from the truthful. He's truthful. I was a liar. That's the meaning here. And we talked about the word hashasa. What does hashasa mean? There's two opinions on the meaning or the origin of the word hashasa, or amongst two. We talked about two of them. The first was hashasa is like the sitting of a camel. When a camel sits down, like if you've ever gone somewhere and you've seen a camel, the camel finally sits down. How hard is it to get that camel back up? It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to get the camel to stand back up once it's decided it's tired and it wants to sit down. So its owner has to tug and pull and do whatever it needs to do to get it to stand back up. So hasa means for it to be established like a camel is established on the ground. It has been fully established, and nothing can erode this truth, just like nothing can make the camel stand up. That's one opinion. The other is, it's from hisn, like a fortress. And what does a king's fortress have? You have all of the surrounding army that's on the outside protecting it. And the king is going to be located in the innermost place of the palace. The innermost place of the palace. So in order for the enemy to get to the king, how many layers of security, layers of rooms and floors and all of this will an enemy have to get to the king? Just like that, al-ana hashas al-haq, the truth has been unveiled in layers, just like a fortress is established upon layers. أنا راودته عن نفسي. I am the one who seduced him. وإنه لمن الصادقين. So then we talked a little bit about ذلك, ayah 52 and 53, but whatever we talked about last week, we'll go back and we'll talk about this again. So Allah says, ذلك ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي الكيد الخائنين وما أبرئ نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي إن ربي غفور رحيم. So I'll translate both of these ayat. I say this, so he knows that I didn't betray him behind his back, and that God, Allah, never leads the schemes of the betrayers to fruition. Yet I do not call myself blameless. Every innermost self keeps dictating evil, except as much as my master shows mercy. Indeed, my master is greatly forgiving and mercy giving. Okay, so this was the question that I posed last week, and I'll pose it again here. Who said these words? Preferably someone who wasn't here. Who? This is, it would be one speaker. So if it's one speaker, who would it be? The wife of the Aziz. It's one opinion. What's the other opinion? Zulaykha. That's the wife of the Aziz. Okay. All right. Who's the other person? Yusuf alayhi salam. Okay. So these are the two possibilities. ذلك ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين. I say this so he knows that I didn't betray him behind his back. Now there's two opinions. When you're reading it just in its Arabic and you start off with the last part of the previous ayah, وَقَالَتِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ وَقَالَتِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ. then in the Arabic language, what must follow after this is that whatever the next part of the sentence is, has to be the same speaker. It has to be the same speaker. So for example, if I were to say, let's say we were writing a book, and it says, Imam Wajid said that Jummah khutbah, Imam Wajid said, and I quote, I will give the khutbah tomorrow. I am going to pray in the last saf. Saf meaning in the rows of the prayer. Who said I'm going to pray in the last saf? Imam Wajid. Right? Because both sentences start with I. It doesn't make sense. Why would there be a shift in the speaker? Why would there be a shift? Why? How? Okay, if I give you a different sentence, it will make more sense. Imam Wajid, he says, and I quote, I will give the Jummah khutbah. And then Jad said, I will pray in the last saf. Now it's clear who said which sentence, right? It's clear. There's no question about that one. But that first one, it doesn't make much sense to think that someone else would say that first sentence. Someone would say the second sentence. If Imam Wajid said that he's going to give the khutbah, right? He said, I'm going to give the khutbah, I'm going to pray in the last saf. It would make sense that it's the same person speaking both sentences. Okay, so hold on to that example, because this same example I'm going to use for the argument the other way. Does this argument make sense? Example, does it make sense? Okay, so if the wife of the Aziz is the one who's saying that, then ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ. That, meaning everything I just said right now or whatever happened, is so that he knows I didn't betray him in his absence when he was gone. Who is him? Oh, that's a good question. So here, dhalika is not in reference to a person. It's a reference to a situation. Just like how Allah says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. That dhalika is not talking about just in distance for the book, but it's talking about this book here. Just like that, dhalika is used in this situation to say dhalika situation, that situation, but you're still in the situation, so it's translated as this situation. So the masculinity of dhalika is referencing to the situation, not to a specific person. Okay. So she says, I did this, I said this, meaning الآن حصحص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسي. I said this so that he knows I didn't betray him behind his back. Okay, who's he? Betray who behind his back? Yusuf. Okay, what's another possibility? Aziz. Very good. Yusuf alayhi salam or the Aziz? You all said Yusuf alayhi salam. Why is she going to care what Yusuf alayhi salam said? Keep going. I said the question wrong. Let me say the question again. Why would she care what Yusuf alayhi salam thinks, not says? This situation is about him. Okay, why would you say that it's because of that it's in reference to the Aziz? Very good. So if it's the Aziz who's being referenced here, then she would be saying, I want it to be known now. The Aziz could know. I want everyone to know. I want it to be known that I did not betray the Aziz in his absence. Okay? That's if it was the Aziz. What if it's Yusuf alayhi salam who's being referred to? Why would she care? If you remember, I kind of mentioned it last time. Very good. So the ones who say this is for Yusuf alayhi salam, they say the Yusuf, when he was in jail, he said, "Ma balu niswati lati qatta'na aydiyahun." He never said, "Go and tell the king that the wife of the Aziz tried to seduce me and I'm in jail unjustly." He didn't say all of that. He just said, "Go ask what happened with the women that cut their hands." Never singled her out. So they say, if it's Yusuf alayhi salam who's being mentioned here, then it makes sense that she is returning the favor. She wants him to know that she did not betray him in his absence. His absence meaning when he was in jail for 12 years. Okay? The reason why she wants to know, we understand. Because he was nice to her, she was nice to him. Okay? But, what does she mean? Lam akhunhu bil ghayb. I did not betray him. What does that mean then? Just give me a mushaf. Give me a mushaf. Oh, that's very good. I got it. It's good. Jazakallah. This is very good. This is a very good guess. She is referencing the current situation. She is referencing the current situation. I don't want him to know that I did not betray him in his absence. Why? Because Yusuf alayhi salam is not here. This is the investigation. Where is Yusuf? He's still in jail. He's refusing to leave because his name's not clear yet. So he's still in jail. She is not there with Yusuf alayhi salam. She's with the king. So this is very acceptable to believe that this is what's going on. But there's another possibility. And this possibility has to do with his current situation. Yusuf alayhi salam is still in jail. Why? Why is he still there? I just said it. Yes, he's refusing to leave. He wants the people to know that he's innocent, right? What does Yusuf care about more than even being in jail? What does he care about more than anything else? Truth laid bare. Okay. What does he care more about more than anything else? His reputation. He cares about his reputation. What other people believe him to be. So let's take for one example. Let's take for just one example. Yusuf alayhi salam left the prison without his name being cleared. Okay? And this example will matter for the different ayat that we're going to come to soon. If Yusuf leaves and he becomes the Aziz, okay? Then what happens if, because we know what's going to happen already. 7 years of abundant food, then 7 years of very difficult drought, no food at all. What happens when Yusuf alayhi salam stands on the 8th year, the first year of the drought? He stands there, he says, no more food, everyone's only going to get a little bit because this is what we need. Or even the first year, forget the 8th year, the first year when there's abundance of food, it's all you can eat. All you can eat. The rain just keeps coming down, you have all the food that you want. And then Yusuf, he stands up and he says, stop, you can't eat right now, we need to save for the future. What are the people going to say? They're not going to believe him? Okay. They're not going to believe him is one thing, but it's more so why. Why are they not going to believe him? He was in prison. Is he a trustable person? He just left prison because the king liked him. Is he trustable? Should we listen to him? What does he actually know? People are going to ask these questions, and there's going to be chaos. There's going to be chaos in the community, in the entire country. Why? Because Yusuf a.s. knows that for 7 years they'll have food, and then another 7 years with no food at all. So if he doesn't get his reputation fixed, how is he supposed to help in the situation? And he's a prophet of Allah. It's his responsibility to help the people. Keep that thought in your mind too, because we'll get there in a second. So, lam akhunhu bil ghaib. Before, she was speaking to. Before, it was just her and Yusuf alayhi salam. She got caught by her husband and her cousin at the door. They were at the door all of a sudden. They said, don't tell anyone about this to Yusuf alayhi salam. But then people started to talk about it, right? وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تُرَاوِدُ فَتَاهَا عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. The women of the town started to talk, and they said, hey, Yusuf alayhi salam, the wife of the Aziz, she did something with her slave. Yusuf alayhi salam's reputation took a hit. Then, much later on, after the women cut their hands, she admitted to herself, وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدتُّهُ عَنْ نَفْسِي فَاسْتَعْصَمْ. I tried to seduce him, but he فَاسْتَعْصَمْ. He wanted nothing to do with me. Completely innocent. But then, later on, وَلَئِن لَّمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ لَيُسْجَنَنَّ وَلَيَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. If he does not do exactly what I want him to do, then I'm going to throw him in jail, and he's going to be min as-saghirin. What did we say as-saghirin was? We're going to make him small. But what does that mean? Something? Insignificant? Yes, kind of insignificant. The element of insignificance is there. But saghirin here is in reference to his reputation. We're going to ruin his reputation. Right now he is someone trustworthy, someone who he's a prophet of Allah. He is, someone who wants to commit no sins. He has good character, he has good manners. All of this. But we'll throw him into jail and we'll ruin all of that. What happened after this? They talked to one another. ثُمَّ بَدَا لَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا رَأَوُا الْآيَاتِ لَيَسْجُنُنَّهُ حَتَّى حِينٍ. After they saw the ayat, after they saw the proofs, they decided, we're going to put you in jail for some time. What does this mean? They who? Who's they? The politicians. The wife of the husband, right, of this woman, meaning the Aziz, and the other people. They plotted and they said, we're going to throw you into jail. Once he's in jail, the wife of the Aziz has no more power left. She can't do anything. The politicians, the leaders are the the ones who saw the ayat, are the ones who threw him into jail. After this, she has no proof. She has no evidence. She has nothing. She can't do anything. Because she is the wife of the Aziz, but she has no power in and of herself. So after this, all the way over here, I want him to know, أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ. When he was in jail, I never betrayed him. I never did anything that would bring him down min as-saghirin. I never did any of this. It wasn't in my hand to throw him into jail. This was their decision. They picked him up, they threw him into jail. I felt bad all of this time. I couldn't do anything about it for my husband's reputation, for the other politicians, for the other women in the community. I couldn't do anything about it. But the least that I could do is I didn't say anything bad about him. This is the meaning of that. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He never guides or He leads the schemes of those who try to betray others, and He never makes it successful. He never makes it successful. Okay. Then she moves on, and we'll talk about وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. Okay? So, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي, I am not calling myself blameless. If the wife of the Aziz is the one talking, that's what we're discussing now, the wife of the Aziz. If it's the wife of the Aziz, she says, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. He said, I'm not completely innocent. Aziz is the minister. Aziz, yes. Okay. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I am not saying that I'm completely innocent. I'm not completely innocent. Meaning she's saying from أَنَا رَاوَدْتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ, I tried to seduce him, but he didn't accept. وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And indeed, he's true. He's from those who speak the truth. Okay? Meaning, I tried, but I failed. Therefore, I didn't actually do something wrong. Because she never actually did the act. Right? So now she's saying, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I am not saying that I'm completely faultless, though. I'm not saying that I'm completely faultless. She's, has that much sense because, Yusuf alayhi salam got in trouble because of her. All of the people started talking in the community because of her. And then ultimately it's her decisions that led the politicians to throw Yusuf alayhi salam into jail. And he was in jail for 12 years. So, she understands I am not completely faultless. Then she says, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Indeed, the soul inclines towards doing bad things. The soul wants to do bad things. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. We'll talk about that too a little bit more. Except for whatever my Lord chooses to have mercy on. Inna Rabbi Ghafurur Rahim. Indeed, my master is greatly forgiving and mercy giving. He continues to forgive and he continues to have mercy. Okay, so this is from the perspective of who? The wife of the Aziz. Now here's a question. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. We know that the wife is not Muslim. So why is she using Allah over and over again? Maybe he's trying to convince her to come to Islam. Yusuf's not there at the moment right now. And they haven't seen each other for a very long time. He's still in jail. Can you say it again? I didn't understand it. Could there have been a point in time where she did start believing in Allah? It's possible. It's possible that she became Muslim, and that's why she started to use these words in this moment. So the ones who say that it is possible, they can argue that her usage of Allah and just one God, because they were mushrikeen, they were polytheists. The usage of just one Lord is indicative of them being, of her becoming Muslim. That's one part. The others, they may say that, no, she's referencing the highest God in her language, and then Allah is translating it for us. So it's unknown what her station is, if she became Muslim or not. Okay. So this is the issue. This is one of the complications. For those who argue that, no, this was not Yusuf speaking, it was the wife of the Aziz, this is what they bring up. If this was the wife of the Aziz, then how is it possible for her to say these things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and know these things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He doesn't guide those who plot. He doesn't guide their plots to be successful. And that the soul inherently goes to evil except whatever Allah has mercy on. So how would she know something like that? That's one. Now let's go all the way back. Let's restart now and say that Yusuf alayhi salam is the one who is speaking. So she says, الآن حصحص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. She says, I'm the one who seduced him and he's truthful, and now it switches. All of that was so that he knew that I didn't betray him behind his back. Now if Yusuf alayhi salam is speaking, let's talk about what does dhalika mean? What does akhunhu mean? Who is he talking about betraying? And what does bil ghaib in this context mean? So we're establishing it's Yusuf. Who is he talking about? The Aziz. He's talking about the Aziz. There's no one else he could be talking about because it's masculine. So if it's Yusuf, it's definitely the Aziz that he's talking about. What is dhalika? What is it in reference to? It's the investigation. I asked you to do this entire investigation. I asked you for all of this stuff so that he would know, the minister, the Aziz, lam akhunhu bil ghaib. I did not betray him in absence. What does betrayal mean? What does absence mean? What is he talking about? When he was seduced. Yeah. I want my minister, I want my master, the minister, the Aziz, to know that I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And why would he want him to know? Why would he want him to know? So that he can get out of jail. He could have gotten out of jail without any of this. The king already asked for him. Reputation? Yes, but there's a specific reason why he wants to know. Why does he want the Aziz to know? It was his wife, yes. Okay, go ahead. Another? Okay. This entire conversation happens, and at the end of the conversation, he's speaking most likely to the king. And he says, all of this investigation is so that the Aziz knows that I didn't betray him behind his back. Why does he care so much? Very good, okay. That is one part of it, and we're going to come to that. What, on here? No, that's not on here. So that is one part of it. We are going to come to that. But why the conversation with the king is so that the king knows what you're saying. Because I'm going to come to that. That's what the king knows. But why does he care so much about what the Aziz knows? Or why does he care so much about what the Aziz thinks? Think back all the way to the beginning of the surah. What did the king say, or what did the Aziz say about Yusuf alayhi salam? When he brought her home, what did he say to his wife? Or after this or before this? What was the command? He gave his wife a command. Akrimi mathwa. Akrimi mathwa. Give him a noble position, or make his position nobilized, beautiful, respected, high place. So the minister, he did all of this. Now 12 years after the initial story of the seduction, this entire thing is happening. Yusuf alayhi salam wants him to know, the king, the Aziz, I did nothing wrong to you. All of this was a plot against me. This was important for him. Yes, for his reputation, yes. But also along with his reputation, that the Aziz knew that he gave Yusuf so much good, so much respect. He put him in such a high, lofty status. But Yusuf alayhi salam did not repay that with evil. He did not repay that with something bad. He did not do that. So he wants him to know that. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't make the plots of those who plot successful. Okay, that makes sense. That's pretty straightforward, right? وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. But I'm not saying that I'm completely innocent. Why would the Prophet of Allah, Nabiullah, Ibn Nabiullah, Ibn Nabiullah, Ibn Khalil al-Rahman, the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet, the son of a Prophet, the son of a Prophet, the son of the friend of Allah. Why would he say, I am not completely absolved? I am not completely free of blame? Doesn't make any sense. The majority of the Mufassirin say that it's Yusuf alayhi salam speaking. Majority of the Mufassirin. No, it was definitely before jail, but there's a difference of opinion on, was it at the time that right before the seduction, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says He gave him atinahu al-hukma wal-ilma, ilma wal-hukm. What is it? Atinahu hukma wa ilma. So when He says that right before the seduction, or was it when He threw him, when the brothers threw him into the well, and at that point Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke with him to reassure him through Jibreel, gave him ilham, things like this. So the scholars of tafsir, they debate it's at one of these 2 points, but way before jail. Okay. Why is the Prophet of Allah saying, I'm not completely blameless? Ooh, so some of the scholars, and this is a completely wrong interpretation. Completely wrong interpretation. Some of the scholars, they do say that it could be because Yusuf alayhi salam had some inclination towards her too. But we know that that's not the case, because the ayah right after that. So in the Arabic language, when you use the word lawla, it's called it's imtina' lil wujud, meaning when this is present, it shows that whatever scenario is talked about after this usage of this word never happened. It never happened. So you would say, like in English, you may say, I was going to hit that kid if his dad was not there, or had his father not been there. Did you hit that kid? When you say in English, do you understand you hit the kid? No. It means you may have wanted to, but you did not, because why? The father was there. وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَرَّأَ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. And he would have inclined towards her had it not been for the signs of his Lord. So the meaning of Lola here is that he never had that hum towards her. He could have had it had he not had proof from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But those who say, yes, Yusuf alayhi salam had some inclination, he had some desire for it, but then Allah saved him afterwards, they say, yes, this is the meaning of that. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ. He didn't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so as a result, he had to spend 7 more years in jail. That's a very good guess. But in this context, it would be unwise for him to bring up a mistake that he did between him and Allah when he is kind of on trial for a sin that happened between him and another person. It's like for example, for example, a person is he's accused of stealing something in the middle of the night. No, this is not a good example. Yeah, okay. So a person gets a speeding ticket, then has to go to the judge. When he gets to the judge, he says, I had to speed. I had to speed because I was drinking alcohol. It's not helping his situation at all, right? And it can make things worse for him. So kind of like this. It's still not a perfect example because this is one crime should be for the dunya, one crime should be only between you and Allah. But that's the thing. That's the idea. So here, it wouldn't make sense for him to say that to him about what he did in prison. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. They say the meaning of this is not that he actually committed a crime, but let's say, for example, you have a let's say you have a scholar. Okay? Scholar comes and he is asked a question. What is the last surah in the Mus'haf? Okay? What is the last surah in the Mus'haf? What is the answer? Surah Nas. That's the last surah in the Mus'haf. Everyone believes this. Everyone knows this. Yes? All right, scholar, let's say he's sitting here. Someone says, what is the last surah in the Mus'haf? The scholar says, it's Surah Nas, Wallahu a'lamu bis-sawab. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows best to what's right. Why did he say that last part? Yes, so that's what factually happened, yes. But the question is not about which one was revealed or which one should be in its place. It is that this is the Mus'haf, that when you open the last surah, it's Surah Nas. So why is he saying Allah knows best when we all open this and we know that this is what it is? Based on the order? Based on the order that it was revealed. No, because that wouldn't have an impact on its placement all the way at the end. We already know that it's factually it is present as the last surah of the Quran. Why would he say Wallahu a'lamu bis-sawab? That's revealed. We're saying in the Mus'haf. An-Nas, yeah. So why did he say Wallahu a'lamu bis-sawab? Why? It's because this is the proper manners of speaking when you are giving a ruling based on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are answering a question about Islam. This is the proper way to speak. So if you ever Google a fatwa, ever, at the end of it, it'll say, Wallahu a'lam. Or Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab. This is what I think, to the best of my ability, all of the things that I have done. Okay, all of the investigation, all of the research that I have done, this is my conclusion, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows best. This is manners with Allah. This is manners, because you're signing off on behalf of Allah when you give a fatwa. So they will always end with Wallahu a'lam. Okay? Why did Yusuf alayhi salam say, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي? He's coming out of jail. People are going to be saying, oh, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and how could he be completely free, and this and that, and all of these different things. Yusuf alayhi salam, he never admits guilt. He never says, I did what they said, or I did even a little bit of what they said. But he humanizes himself. You make mistakes, I make mistakes too. You make mistakes, I make mistakes too. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I am not saying that I'm 100% perfect. I make mistakes. Did he make a mistake? Yes, he made a mistake in the jail example. He made a mistake with maybe telling his brothers if that's what happened. You know, there are mistakes that happened, and that's okay. Everyone is human. Everyone makes mistakes. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. My intention is that once I come to be the right hand of the king, the strongest government position, I will make all of you Muslim. But in order to make all of you Muslim, to give da'wah to all of you, I need you to know that I'm free of the sin and that I'm human just like you. I'm not an angel. They said I was an angel, but I'm not an angel. I'm a human being. If I can stop myself from falling into seduction, you can do that too. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. And then, even if there was a hint of Yusuf alayhi salam's soul going towards the bad way, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Indeed, the soul, the inside soul, it inclines to do things that are bad, except for whatever Allah has mercy on. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. So he could be saying here what? That I am free from making these mistakes because my Lord has been protecting me this entire time. He has been protecting me this entire time. Now, if there's just one part of this that's left now. If she said, قَالَتِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ الْآنَ حَصْحَصَ الْحَقِّ. If she is the one who said, now the truth has been revealed, how can it just shift to Yusuf speaking all of a sudden without any transition? Because we said in the example at the beginning what? Imam Vajid, he says that, I quote, I am giving the khutbah tomorrow, I will pray in the last saf. These two things don't make sense. But there's nothing in between. It's a style of speaking. Good. Yeah. But those are clear transitions. It's known who's speaking and who's not. Okay. So this is kind of that answer. What you're trying to allude to is the same answer he just said. This is a style that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He brings. And the ayah that we discussed last time was رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ جَامِعُ النَّاسِ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Oh, our Lord, these are the people who are making the dua. Oh, our Lord, you are the one who will gather all people together on the day of judgment. لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. For the day that there is no doubt about. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He never betrays His promise. But if it was a part of the dua, it would be إِنَّكَ لَا تُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ, just like it is at the end of the surah. But at the beginning of the surah, no, it shifts to Allah speaking, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ. But there's no وَقَالَ اللَّهِ. It just shifts automatically. إِنَّكَ لَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ. But it's known that Allah is speaking now. Does that example make sense? Okay. So here, the argument for the ones who say it's the wife of the Aziz, this is the last person speaking, and therefore this must be what's being spoken about now. As for the argument for Yusuf alayhi salam, the argument is what? That it shifts, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows this kind of shift. Okay, let's move on. the different types of nafs. There are 3 types of nafs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us in the Quran. And there's 2 examples that the scholars, they argue on which side of, what the reality is. So let's talk about the 3 nafs first. The first is nafs ammaratun bisu, the soul that is inclining towards bad or evil. That's one that we talked about here. The second is nafsul mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah, the soul that is content. And then the third is nafsul lawwama. Nafsul lawwama is the one that constantly blames itself and it goes back and forth between right and wrong. So there's 2 opinions. The first is every person has all 3 types of these souls, and they go back and forth. When they are, their iman is very high, then maybe they're in mutma'inna. Then sometimes they're very, very bad people. They're closer to ammaratan bisu, and then they pray sometimes, and then they commit sin sometimes. Then they're a part of nafsul lawwama. This is that one first opinion. The second opinion on this is that there are 3 groups, and everyone is in one category only. So they only are a part of nafs mutma'inna. They're only a part of nafs ammaratun bisu, and then overwhelming majority are in nafs lawwama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows best, but it seems more likely that a person can go between the different levels, and this is what we can understand in our perceived reality. Okay, so there are 2 meanings for the word illa here. This is what we'll end off with before going to the next ayah. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. What does illa here mean, if you were to translate it? All souls are inclining towards evil, and then you have the word illa. So there's 2 opinions on illa. It's either that it's muttasil or it's munqata. Okay, meaning that it's either a part of the same concept that's being spoken about before, or it's cut off from what it is. If it's muttasil, it means that inna nafsa la'amaratun bisu, all souls are free from this ammaratun bisu, being inclined towards evil, except those who Allah has given His permanent protection to. Who has Allah given His permanent protection to? To never commit any type of sin. The prophets, yes, but they are not completely free of fault. They are ma'soom, so they don't commit major sins, but they can still make mistakes and they can still commit minor sins. Who would it be then? Angels. Illa ma rahima rabbi, except what Allah has given mercy to. And then the other is, it is the mercy of Allah. So if it's munqati', it's the mercy of Allah that diverts evil. It's the mercy of Allah. Illa ma rahima rabbi means it is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is taking any evil out. There's just a very small tidbit here to show that it could either be talking about only angels who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given complete protection to, or it's talking about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy descends and it protects people from falling into sins. Falling into sins. Yeah. And also, Imam al-Razi, he makes this one more thing about وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. He says in the previous ayah, لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, I want him to know that I didn't betray him behind his back. He's talking good about himself. He's talking positively. So then to humble himself, he says, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. This is just one part. But let's move on to the next ayah. We have to We have to finish today, inshallah. Okay, 20 minutes. وقال الملك ائتوني به أستخلصه لنفسي فلما كلمه قال إنك اليوم لدينا مكين أمين. And the king said, bring him to me so that I may appoint him to my exclusive service. Then upon speaking to him, he said, from today you are in a strong position of trust by our side. A very, very beautiful ayah. Okay? Okay, so this is the second time he's saying "Utuni bi," right? The first time he told the person, he asked about the dream interpretation. Someone said, "Oh, I know. I'll go figure it out." He left. He did his thing, came back to the king, and said, and the king realized, "You're not smart enough to come up with this. Utuni bi, go get him for me. Bring him to me." Now he's saying the same thing again, but in a different way. قال الملك ائتوني به أستخلصه لنفسي. Bring him to me. I want to make him specific for my use only. I want to make him specific for my use only. Before it was I could use you, I could use you, go get him. Now it is the king saying something in you is special. Okay? So what does istakhlasa mean? Istakhlasa. We talked about this before. Okay. We talked about this word kind of before. Mukhlisin versus mukhlasin. What was the difference? Mukhlis, for the ayah, mukhlisin means that he was sincere and only had that one intention. Mukhlas means that he was chosen. That he was chosen. Okay? Here, astakhlishu li nafsi is what? Think about the same concept. I am choosing him for myself at the expense of everyone else around. I am choosing him for myself at the expense of everyone else around. Everyone else comes second. Yusuf alayhi salam comes first. Now imagine this. You have the king who is at the highest level of position, right? Yusuf alayhi salam is now jumping through all of the ranks to be right next to the king. Before, the king has a cabinet. He has a team of people who would answer his questions and who would plan for him and who would do whatever for him, right? Now Yusuf alayhi salam has completely jumped through that entire hierarchy and gone all the way to the top to be right with the king. Why? Because he sees something special in him, and he says it himself. فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ. When he spoke to him, he said, قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. This is actually a very, very powerful ayah. Okay? So what does makeen mean? Makeen, قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ. Today, indeed today, لَدَيْنَا, to us, you are makeen and amin. Makeen means someone that is well established. It is someone who is well established. It has that idea, right? But that control comes from what aspect? It's the fact that you cannot be moved. Okay? So this word makeen, it actually comes from the word kaun, to exist. Someone who is makeen is not just in existence, but so deeply rooted that it can't be moved. So deeply rooted that it can't be moved. Okay? So the meaning of makeen is to have two things. Makana, tamakkun. Makana and tamakkun. Makana is what? Status. To be known. Okay, to be known for a very particular reason. And tamakkun is? But tamakkun means what? ability. He has capacity, he has ability to do something. Okay? These are the two meanings of makeen here. You are makeen in the sense you are well established, rooted, you have capability of doing something, and it's completely clear who you are as a person. Before there was some doubt. Before there was doubt. Now there's no doubt. This is who you are. This is your position. This is your position. You have nothing that taints your reputation, because whatever someone accused you of 12 years ago, it's been cleared out. Now you are here and you have capacity in the sense that you are strong-willed. No one can tell you what to do when you don't want to do it, right? They wanted to seduce him, but he didn't do it. They wanted him to come out of jail, but he didn't do it. He can't be moved. He can't be moved. Then Ameen. What is Ameen? Someone who is trusted. Someone who is trusted. Okay? Where does this come from? Where does this come from? Why is he now saying Ameen? Why is he trustworthy? Answer. He's saying Ameen for a very reason. You're trustworthy. Why? What's the opposite of trust? He didn't betray. He didn't betray the Aziz. So he wanted it to be known. Lam akhunhu bil ghayb. I did not betray him in his absence. So the king is saying, you are Ameen. You are trustworthy. Okay. Yeah, but astakhlisu li nafsi for here would be I'm going to use him for my own purpose. I wouldn't use extract here. I think maybe because you're translating as extract is that's why you're not getting you're not. So istakhlasa here is in reference to he's doing two things. He's choosing Yusuf alayhi salam, and he is pushing everyone else away. He's choosing Yusuf at the expense of everyone else. So in this meaning, it combines mukhlis and mukhlas. Mukhlis is sincerity. So when you have ikhlas for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you worship Allah and no one else. It's only for Allah. When he chooses Yusuf meaning at the expense of everyone else. Everyone else is below Yusuf. Yusuf is only for him. Yusuf will not be shared with the Aziz. He's not going to be shared with the other people in the town. He's no longer a slave. He is for me and me only. Yeah, most likely, yeah. Okay, Makeenun Ameen. Okay, I have to mention this because of how important this is. But this is like one of the beauties of Arabic, and like when you understand it in this way, you'll just think about the Quran differently. The conversation is happening in which language? Some Egyptian language. And then Allah is translating it to Arabic. Yes? Allah is translating it to Arabic to tell us what it means. You take the Quran, and then you open up a translation of the Quran. If you understand some parts of the Arabic of the Quran, does any of it, no, that's too harsh. Is it a complete translation? Is it a complete translation? No. Look at the paragraph that's down there, and how much did I explain the words to you? Even for astakhlisu li nafsi. It has the components of both of those, of choosing someone at the expense of others. That's not there. All it says is appoint him to my exclusive service. So it's not that deep. English isn't that deep. You can't translate it that well. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking from one language to another language. From one language to another language. In order to translate with such efficiency and perfection, you have to be a master of both languages. You have to. A translator of the Quran has to be a master of Arabic and English. Has to be. Okay? But still there is limitation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says, إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ, that is that is a very deep translation from whatever language it came from. What does it mean? The word ladayna, like at the beginning of the surah, Sayyidaha ladal bab. Ladal bab. We didn't talk about this, but I'll mention this here very quickly. Ladal bab. What does that mean? Where is he? He's at the door. He's actually standing in the door frame. Okay? He's standing in the door frame. That's where he is, physically. What's the other way of saying it? عند الباب. عند الباب means, oh yeah, I'm in the parking lot. I just parked my car عند الباب. I'm by the door. These are the two ways of communicating space, communicating distance. When you mean to say where a location is in Arabic. When he said ladal bab, he was at the door. But indal bab, he could have been anywhere. He could have been outside. He could have been 10 minutes walking, and he could have said indal bab. Okay? Here, when he says ladayna makinun amin, it doesn't mean you're going to stand in the you're going to stay in jail and use you for my makinun amin. No, none of that. What it means here is you are going to be right next to me. So it feeds astakhlisu. I'm taking you and I'm putting you here right next to me. Ladayna. You are to us makinun amin. You're well established right here, right next to me. Amin, completely trustworthy. Okay, so we talked about 1, 2. What's number 3? Why did the king have such a high opinion? Why did the king have such a high opinion? It's a very easy question, actually. Yusuf alayhi salam had knowledge. No one else could translate or give the interpretation of the dream, right? Yusuf alayhi salam was extremely patient and steadfast. He stayed in jail for 12 years without making any complaint to the king. And even when he had the opportunity to leave, he still refused to leave. And he had excellent manners. How do we know he had excellent manners? How do we know? Huh? When he talked about the women, he didn't mention anyone's name. Then Allah says, قَالَ جَعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ إِنِّي حَفِيظٌ عَلِيمٌ. He said, put me in charge of the reserves of the whole land. I'll translate this for myself. For I am scrupulous and well informed. This is what he mentioned. Oh, actually, one more thing. Why did the king have such a high opinion of him? Also because he had so much self-discipline. The woman wanted him and he refused. He has integrity. Okay. Now he says here, put me in charge of the reserves. Okay? So, Yusuf alayhi salam had a conversation with the king. Okay? And he says to the king, Khazain al-Ard is let's say for example, it is the farmland or the farmhouse. It's where all of the food is stored. The money, the food, the needs of the community, that's where it is stored. In Khazain al-Ard. This is where all of that stuff is. He says, put me in charge of all of that. Okay. What happened before this? So Yusuf alayhi salam, it's very interesting. I have to. So next week I won't be here, and then the week after I want to start immediately with Yusuf alayhi salam. So this is some things that I'll just have to skip. So he chose. Is it bad that he spoke well for himself? I'm going to go there first. Is he bad? Is this bad? He's speaking about himself. I am Hafiz. I can preserve all of this stuff. I can keep it. I can safeguard it. Why does he need to safeguard it? Because for 7 years they'll have abundant food, and then 7 years they will have no food. So he has to preserve it. And Alim, he is knowledgeable about how to do this. He's knowledgeable about how to do this. Okay? So it makes him the perfect candidate. So is it bad that he spoke highly of himself? No. It is not bad. When you know that you are in a position to help other people, or you are the one who is qualified for a job, it is not wrong for you to put yourself up. It is not wrong. In fact, in Yusuf alayhi salam's situation here, this is what was required of him. This was what was required of him. So let's say you come to a community and you want to be the imam of the community. You want to be an imam of the community. You have so many people that are present here. Can you apply for that job? Can you apply for that job? Yes, you can. It is not a sign of arrogance that you apply for the job. Others will determine if you are actually qualified for that job. But you are allowed to qualify if you think that you have something that you can give to people and to help them. If I didn't think I could sit here and teach you, then I wouldn't have applied for this. It would have been arrogant of me to apply for the job. Okay? Same thing goes for when we lead salah. Same thing goes for when we lead salah. Say I am not here. Hafiz Uthman is not here. And no one is scheduled to lead for that day. How do you determine who is going to lead? It is the one who has the most knowledge of the religion. Then the one who has the most Quran. Then the one who is the oldest. And then there's tartib. There's this order that is followed. If you are in a position where you qualify for that, you have to put yourself up. You have to put yourself up. Because if you are someone who is too shy and you're stepping back and then someone else goes who, let's say their tajweed is not good. Let's say they don't know how to lead the prayer and they make mistakes. You are sinful for allowing them to go when you had the chance to go up. This is the reality. All right, let's switch gears now. Why did he choose these two words? Hafidun alim. I answered this already. Right? Okay. Why did he ask for this particular job? This is also kind of an easy question. Why did he ask for this particular job? This is what he saw in the dream. This is what he saw in the dream. He knows exactly what's going to happen. Right? He knows what's going to happen for the next 15 years. All right, this is the end now. وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء ولا نضيع أجر المحسنين ولأجر الآخرة خير للذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. And that is how we gave Yusuf a firm footing throughout the land, stationing himself wherever he saw fit. We rain our loving care on whomever we will, and we never allow the reward meant for the doers of good to be lost. And the reward in the afterlife is better still for those who maintain faith and spiritual vigilance. So I'll just explain this in my last 5 minutes. وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. This is the second time this ayah is coming. Second time. The first time was at the beginning of the surah. The second time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the same thing. Yusuf alayhi salam was put in what? A very hard situation where his brothers picked him up and threw him into the well. All alone, separated from his family, taken to a different country, sold into slavery. Allah says, we established him in the earth. There at the house. He went through all of those years, decades with the Aziz and his wife, all of the flirtation, all of the seduction, all of the gossip and the rumors and the accusations and all of that stuff. And then he went to jail for 12 years. For 12 years. And then he comes out and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this again. Every time he comes out of a difficulty, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We have established him in the earth. We talked about this before. We'll keep on talking about it for the rest of the surah. Because after this ayah, everything shifts. Yusuf, until this ayah, is the weak one. And Yusuf now becomes a strong one after this ayah. وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Okay? It is said that at this point, Yusuf alayhi salam, he wore, the king gave him the robe. He gave him the robe, he gave him the crown, he gave him the staff, he gave him all of the things that someone in his position would have. Okay? And he was, he even had a gold throne a gold arsh like brought to him where he sat down on this. On this. يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء. This two riwayat, حيث نشأ حيث يشاء. He was able to go wherever he wanted to go. He could do whatever he wanted. Before he was in prison, he was stuck inside of his cell. Now he's free to do whatever he wants. He's free to do whatever he wants. نُصِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا مَن نَشَاء. What does nusib mean? Don't just look at the translation. What does nusib mean if you know in Arabic? What's sabba? For example, sabba al-ma. You pour the water. You pour the water. نُصِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا. Why did Allah choose this? Why did Allah choose this? Think quickly though, because we're going to run out of time. Yeah. Why the word shower? The dream. What was the dream? What's the dream? 7 years, everything is good. 7 years, drought. Nothing is falling from the sky. 7 years, nothing is falling from the sky. 1 year, so much is falling from the sky. In the 15th year, plenty of crops, so much so that you can even squeeze oil and wine. Right? نُصِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا مَن نَشَاء. We pour our mercy unto whoever we wish. Yusuf alayhi salam, had he not been put into this position, had he not been given this, Egypt would have been wiped out. Egypt would have been wiped out. Because they wouldn't have 7 years of no food. How are people going to live? No one would have known what to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala poured His mercy on all of them by not only bringing Yusuf alayhi salam and putting him into this position, despite all of the difficulty that he had to get to just to get to this position. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that all of Yusuf's difficulties are actually a mercy for everyone in Egypt. وَلَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. We never allow for the good deeds of other people to be wasted. Every single good thing that you do, will be rewarded by Allah. He sees everything. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter where you are, if there's anyone else around you. You could be at the bottom of the well and do a good deed, Allah will know. You could be in front of the entire world and just say La ilaha illallah on the inside, and Allah would know. No one else would know. وَلَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ وَلَا أَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. The reward of the hereafter is better for the people who have two characteristics. Those who believe and those who used to be mindful of Allah, who had taqwa in this world. That is better for them. In this world you're going to get good deeds. In this world you're going to get gifts from Allah for your good deeds. We know this. We talked about this before. Yusuf alayhi salam, he listened. Allah kept giving him gifts over and over again. He put him in the house of someone who would take care of him. Akrimi mathwahu. His reputation was saved. Even at that point, the other people knew. He was put into a prison, but he was given the highest level of respect when he was over there because of something that Allah gave him. Because of something that Allah gave him. Because of something that Allah gave him, right? And as and now the last difficulty was what? He was in jail for 12 years and he finally was released and let out. These are all gifts that Allah gave him for his patience, for his iman, and for listening to the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا أَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ. You will get rewarded in this life for the things that you do. But if you believe in Allah and you remember that Allah is always watching you, then whatever you get in the next life will be so much better than this world. Even if someone makes you the king, the reward of the next life will still be better. And this is the lesson that we learn from Yusuf alayhi salam and from this story. This is half of the story. Inshallah, next week I won't be here, so we'll continue with the second half when the brothers come, starting in 2 weeks from now. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله